Extreme winter weather leaves a mark on our memories. The beast from the east in 2018 brought the UK to a standstill with snow and biting winds. Now, meteorologists warn of another threat, the polar vortex. This script explores these two winter titans, comparing the 2018 beast with a possible severe polar vortex in 2026. The beast from the east was a blast of Siberian air, triggered by a sudden stratospheric warming event. The polar vortex, meanwhile, is a vast pool of cold air swirling around the poles, sometimes breaking down and sending Arctic air south. Both bring extreme cold, but their origins and impacts differ. The beast was a named, focused event. The polar vortex is a gatekeeper that, when weakened, unleashes persistent cold. We'll look at the real impacts of 2018, then imagine what a more powerful polar vortex could mean for the UK. Which is worse, the sudden shock of the beast or the deep, lingering freeze of a polar vortex? To answer, we'll examine the science, the history, and the potential future. Let's rewind to 2018 and relive the beast from the east. The winter of 2018 began typically, but by late February, the beast from the east took over. Frigid Siberian air swept in, bringing days of freezing temperatures, strong winds, and heavy snow. Wind chills dropped to -10 or lower, catching many off guard. Roads were blocked, villages isolated, and major motorways like the M62 became impassable. Hundreds stranded overnight. The army was called in, schools closed, and supermarket shelves emptied as people stocked up. Public transport and airports ground to a halt. Even the London Underground faced disruptions. The country entered a weather-induced lockdown. The NHS faced a surge in cold-related illnesses and accidents, with emergency services stretched thin. Tragically, the cold was linked to several deaths. The beast from the east exposed our vulnerability to nature's power. It tested our resilience and left a lasting impression. But what exactly is a polar vortex, and how does it compare? The polar vortex isn't a storm. It's a vast, spinning pool of cold air high above the poles, contained by the jet stream. Normally, it stays locked in the Arctic, but when disrupted by a sudden stratospheric warming, it can wobble and send Arctic air south. This happened in 2014, bringing record cold to North America, and in 2018, triggering the beast from the east. When the vortex weakens, the jet stream meanders, letting cold air escape to Europe and beyond. The polar vortex isn't the cold itself, but the mechanism that releases it. Its effects can last weeks, bringing a persistent, dangerous chill. A strong vortex keeps the cold locked away. A weak one means a cold, snowy winter for us. The difference between a single storm and a prolonged freeze lies in the stability of this atmospheric giant. Understanding the polar vortex is key to predicting our harshest winters. So how do these two winter forces stack up? Comparing the beast from the east to a major polar vortex event reveals two styles of winter assault. The beast brought Siberian air and fierce winds, creating brutal wind chills and heavy snow. It was sharp and focused, with a clear start and end. The polar vortex, by contrast, is broader and more sustained, unleashing deep Arctic cold over vast areas. Its freeze can last weeks, affecting all of northern Europe. The beast caused chaos with wind-driven snow. A polar vortex could freeze infrastructure, burst pipes, cracked rails, and strained power grids. The beast was a symptom of a wobbly vortex. A full polar vortex collapse is the root cause. While the beast lasted about a week, a severe vortex breakdown could mean weeks of disruption. The difference? A quick, sharp punch versus a long, relentless squeeze. The impacts on daily life and infrastructure could be far more severe with a prolonged polar vortex event. What would such a future look like? Imagine winter 2026, a polar vortex splits, sending a mass of Arctic air over the UK for weeks. This isn't a passing cold snap, but a stationary block of cold, lasting 2 to 3 weeks. The duration would be the biggest difference from 2018. Sub-zero temperatures day and night would test homes, infrastructure, and lives. The initial novelty would fade, replaced by a struggle against relentless cold. Temperatures could drop to -5 in southern England, -20 or lower in Scotland, levels the UK isn't built for. Diesel fuel could gel, lorries and trains stall, and the energy grid would be pushed to its limits. The scale would be continental, affecting all of Europe and even North America. Gas imports could be threatened, prices could spike, and supply issues would ripple across borders. The crisis would be shared by nations, not just the UK. A major polar vortex event would be a true test of resilience. How would we cope? Extreme cold disrupts daily life. Schools close, businesses shut, and people are urged to stay home. In 2018, key workers kept the country running. In 2026, their challenges would multiply. A 3-week freeze would strain mental health, with anxiety over heating bills and food supplies. Vulnerable people, especially the elderly, would be at extreme risk. Community support would be stretched thin as volunteers battle icy streets to deliver essentials. Hypothermia indoors would become a real threat in poorly insulated homes. The NHS would face a crisis, more injuries, worsened respiratory and heart conditions, and staff shortages. Wildlife would struggle, birds and small mammals could perish, and gardens would suffer deep frost damage. Burst pipes would cause water damage and costly repairs. The aftermath could be as challenging as the freeze itself. Our resilience would be tested on every front. Our infrastructure is fragile in the face of extreme cold. In 2018, roads and railways were paralyzed by snow and ice. Gritters and snowplows couldn't keep up. A prolonged polar vortex could expose even deeper weaknesses. Railways could become unusable for weeks. Rails crack, points freeze, and transport links sever. The energy grid would face unprecedented demand, risking power cuts and rolling blackouts. Losing power in a deep freeze is life-threatening. Water pipes, already aging and shallow, would freeze and burst on a massive scale. After the thaw, flooding and repair work would add to the misery. A longer, colder event could trigger a nationwide water crisis. Our modern systems would be pushed to the brink. Extreme cold devastates wildlife and ecosystems. In 2018, birds and mammals struggled to find food and water. Many perished. A 3-week polar vortex event would exhaust animal fat reserves and threaten hibernators. Garden birds could face mass die-offs, and marine life could suffer winter kills. Agriculture would be hit hard, winter crops destroyed, livestock at risk, and farmers battling to keep animals alive. Trees and plants could be damaged for seasons to come, altering ecosystems. Cold-hardy species might thrive, while sensitive ones decline. Ironically, these cold events are linked to a warming world. The unstable polar vortex is a symptom of climate change. While we freeze, the planet is warming overall. The environmental toll would be deep and lasting. Both the beast from the east and a severe polar vortex are formidable, but which is worse? The beast was a sharp, disruptive storm, a memorable week of chaos. But a prolonged polar vortex is a different beast, relentless week after week, turning inconvenience into crisis. Our infrastructure isn't built for such sustained cold. Failures would multiply. Power, water, transport. The human cost would be far higher, with millions at risk and the NHS under immense, prolonged pressure. Problems would compound, creating a slow-motion disaster. The response shifts from rescue to survival. The verdict: the polar vortex is the true winter titan. Its power lies in its persistence and scale, challenging every aspect of modern life. Preparing for it means rethinking our national resilience, beyond gritters and snowplows to the very core of our systems.